Well, in this week's Mental Health Monday, Dr. Sheryl Ziegler back with us once again, but this time to talk a little bit about divorce. And I think something that's interesting is that the spike in divorces actually happens in January, specifically the Monday after New Year's Eve. That's kind of curious. Why does that happen?
So couples that are struggling with each other, they figure, well, we don't want to ruin the holidays. Let's just get through the holidays. But I think as soon as January hits, they know what they want to do. They want a fresh start. And so divorce attorneys see this really high spike the working Monday after New Year's Day, but also just really the first 3 months of the year.
Sure. Okay. That does make sense from that department. Now, Dr. Ziegler is a mental health expert, but she's also our 9 News parenting expert. So I'm wondering if you can talk about the impact divorce has on kids.
Yeah, it depends on the age of the kid. I mean, I think it's really different for every kid. But overall, we know if parents can keep the conflict down, kids are resilient and they'll usually be okay. If they had pre-existing mental health conditions, that can make it more difficult. But what we see is that kids who are in early childhood, so sort of 0 through 5, or really, 2 through 5, toddlers, preschoolers, what they feel is just it's confusing to them, the switching of the two homes. So they're just more confused. But they usually adapt. And then you have school-age children, and what their big thing is more around, did I do something? Is this my fault? And so that's something you really have to work through as the parents. And then when you have teenagers, they're usually really inconvenienced by a divorce. Their lives are hectic and busy, and having to manage 2 homes is really hard. So they show more anger, resentment, and they're also more likely to blame maybe one parent over the other. Okay,
so definitely different stages in life there. I want to ask you a follow-up to that, because a lot of parents, they probably should, they're at that point where they think we should get divorced, but we want to stay in this for the kids. We think it's healthier for the kids. I'm actually, a child of a situation like that. I didn't like that. We were talking about that. I asked my parents to just finally get a divorce. Is it better for the kids or worse for the kids? How do you decide there?
What the research says, and what my experience I do a lot of this work, is that when there's a lot of conflict in a home, it usually in the long run is better for the kids to just have 2 parents that are happier without one another, and they can really focus on parenting. The biggest thing I will say again for parents who are worried about this, if they think they need to get divorced or separated, is you can't badmouth the other parent. That is the #1 factor that makes divorce really tough for kids. Don't badmouth them ever, period. It's got to be a rule. And there are really a lot of things that parents can do once they make this hard decision, tell the kids together and on the same page. There's a lot they can do to show consistency and love and unconditional kind of regard for one another that can make it really be, it's hard no matter what, but make it a little bit better and easier for kids.
Absolutely. And speaking of that, how can you help transition this process a little bit easier for the kids?
Yeah, I mean, to be on the same page is #1. So reducing conflict, be on the same page, and have as many rules as possible that are consistent between the 2 homes. You want to maintain the structure. So don't have, oh, you can go to bed at 11 o'clock at my house. Oh, but the other house, you got to go to bed at 9. Those are the things that cause a lot of friction and tension. And really providing that emotional support for your child, even more so than usual, and getting professional support when not even you see red flags, by then for sure, but even just if you're stumbling, you're having a hard time with this, just get professional support. There are people who do a lot of this, and it can be so helpful for the whole family.
Yeah, you almost have to cooperate a little bit better in a divorce situation than maybe even in your own marriage.
Absolutely, it can be positive, really, it can be.
All right, Dr. Ziegler, thank you so much.